Hey guys, I thought I'd do another video tutorial on coloring with Copic markers. Even though I'm not Copic certified, I get asked quite a bit of questions about how I do it and what colors I use and whatnot. So I thought today I would use this bear from the Itsy Inkies Bear Hug set. And the link to this will be in the sidebar. But this is one image that I love to color and blend and shade with because it makes him look so cute, and it's actually really easy. So I am stamping him with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and you can get it in the dewdrop size, or there's a full ink pad size which I have around here somewhere and I can't get out at the moment. So yeah, this is the best ink to use with Copics. Love it. And white CC Designs cardstock. Again, the link will be in the sidebar. So I've stamped the image, and all I'm using is 5 markers altogether, 3 shades of brown, my colorless blender, and the R20, which is blush. Love that one. When I'm coloring bears or dogs or anything that I want to be brown, these are the 3 colors that I always reach for, and it's E33, E35, and E37, which are sand, I have no idea how to pronounce E35, and sepia. So what I start with is the E33, which is my lightest, and I just quickly color in the head. And when you're planning on doing blending and shading, it's best to work in sections. So I'm doing just the head, and then I'll do the body. And right now I'm not worried about streaks or spots or anything. It doesn't matter because I'm going to be going over it a couple more times. So there, the head's done. Then I'm taking my next darkest color, which is the E35, and I'm going to add that wherever I think the darker areas or the shadows will be. And generally I picture my light coming from this direction. So if the light's coming from this way, there will be more shadows on this side. So I'm going to add that just a little bit right there. I'm just going to add a little bit right there. Okay, so that's the E35, and now my E37, which is the darkest color. I'm going to add that in where the darkest areas would be. Just lightly apply that. Just like so. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like right now it looks pretty goofy. But this is where I go back in with my E33, and using a circular motion, I just go over everything again. And that blends all 3 colors together and gives the image a lot more depth than if I had just colored it with one solid color. And the trick with this, and this is the reason why I say to work in sections, because the trick with this is to try and keep moving and go in a circular motion to keep the cardstock wet, because it blends quicker and it also prevents you from getting a bunch of lines. And even if you do get lines, like if it dries too fast and you've got a line, you can just quickly you go over it again with a circular motion, and it blends it all out really well. And actually you can see underneath, I've got other stamped images on here, which doesn't matter, how it soaks right through the cardstock. You want it to get soaked pretty well when you're coloring, but you need to be careful because if you soak it too much, it will seep out under the stamped image, which you do not want. Because once it starts seeping out here, you can correct it a bit, which I'll show in a minute. You can correct it with the colorless blender, but if you've soaked the cardstock too much, you can't do a whole lot of correcting. So now I'm moving to the body. And again, just quickly going over it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And now I'll go back in with my E35. So I'm going to add shadow right there. there. Okay, now I'll go back in with my E33 and just blend it all together. Okay, and that's all there is to that. And then I take my R20 and I'll fill in his ears, and you can even see I went over the line a bit with the E33, but the R20, even being a lighter color and a completely different color, being pink, it pushes the E33 deeper into the cardstock. So that's one of the neat things about Copics, is you can mess up a little, but it's really easy to fix it and nobody can tell. So that's all there is to it. And then I can take my colorless blender, and any of the areas where I went over the lines, you can just push that color deeper into the cardstock with the colorless blender. There's usually a misconception that it takes away color, which isn't true. It just pushes it further into the cardstock. It almost repels the ink, really. So I use it most of the time for fixing mistakes. And then I can also use it, I'll add more highlights with it, so where the light would be hitting, I can use the colorless blender, and you can see it's pushing, it's repelling the ink. So just giving it a much lighter appearance. And you can go over it as much as you want, and it will continue to repel the ink. Okay, so I finished coloring the image, and I just finished doing a second one without doing any blending. And this one I used just the E33 and then the R20 for his ears. So that's with no shading, just one solid color, and blended out so you don't see any lines, and it looks okay. So here's the one that I did here in the video using the E33, the E35, and the E37 blended, and then with the colorless blender. So you can see what a huge difference that makes. I'm sorry if this is kind of flickery, guys. This is kind of late at night, so I've got my daylight lamps on here trying to make it as bright as possible. So yeah, that's quite a huge difference, and it's really easy to do. It just takes practice, fiddle around, stamp a bunch of images, and just color away. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that hard. The biggest key when you're first starting out and blending and whatnot is to choose colors that are close to each other in the spectrum. So that's why I have the 33, the 35, and the 37, because they're all threes. So that's the first number. And then they're only 2 away from each other, which is a good difference. So one's a 3, one's a 5, one's a 7, and they're all E's, obviously. So these 3 are really close together, so they complement each other perfectly, and they're easy to blend. As you can see, as I did here, you're not trying to blend colors that are so different or so far apart from each other. That gets more difficult. So that's why these 3 I recommend definitely, is the 33, E35, and E37 if you want to do anything in brown tones. I use this for hair a lot too, these 3 colors. So I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learn something new. And any questions or comments or anything, you can just post them in the comment section. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!